I talk about my book, I just want to play a small game, right? Whenever I say right, say monk. When I say left, say monkey. So, right, left, right, left, left. Now let's see who says it louder. The right side or the left side? Right. Left. Left. Right. Last time. Right. Left. There was a huge improvement in the left side. Like a huge improvement. The moment I say, let's see who is going to say it louder. That's the whole point where whenever, I mean, it's not something it started when I was 20 years old or 21 years old. I understood this competition between one person to another will be ingrained in each person's mind. The whole point of when I wrote about this book was that competition was something which was ingrained in people's minds, especially because I spoke to people from US, Canada, all that. They have it ingrained, yet Indians have it ingrained in their minds so much that we think every single thing is competition. It's not something that's new for me. I was born, and the moment I was 8 months, 9 months old, competition was ingrained by saying that let's see who will first walk. Is it me or my cousin? After 5 years, they wanted to see who will eat first. There were like 5 people who all my cousins are sitting, and we want to see who is eating first. No, Dada. Puri yaar first tintare, chapati yaar first tintare. It took 7 years, 8 years. All these things were ingrained. Who will see who will come first in class? Who will come first in that tomato race which we were playing? It was part of the life. And it took me 7, 8 years to understand this, at least when I was in second year or third year. But what happened was, when I was in 6th standard, I first stood for my elections. There were 31 votes which my opponent got. And guess the number of people in the class? People in Achi will know. Other than that, anybody want to guess how many people in the class were? Yeah, 32. And the only person who actually, there were 30 votes, and there's only one person who didn't vote, who didn't want to vote. And the other person was me. I lost it. I lost my first election. And 2nd, 7th standard, I came to the top 10. 8th standard, I came in the top 3. 9th standard, I won the elections by a margin. 10th standard, I won unanimously. It took me 5 years to understand how to win elections. It was not something my capabilities changed, my abilities to convince people went abnormally high. No. It was just the mindset, the approach. The first year when I went for my throwball selections, I didn't make it to my class team. Second year, I at least made it to my class team. And third year, I made it to the district team. And the final year, I made it to the national team. And it only happened not because of the huge change in my capabilities. It was how my coach ingrained a mindset. He is there, here, right with us. And it's about that. 2 things. My elections or my sports or my business fest, the only thing that changed highly was my mindset and my approach. And what took me 5 years to understand, I applied that in my college, in university. I lost my first fest. I lost my second fest by a margin, but my third fest I won. It took me 6 months to understand an approach while I was going to this business competition. Something which I learned for 5 years, started learning and applying it in 6 months. And that's exactly what I wanted to write when I was thinking of writing this book. Because n number of times I listened, whenever I go to any single school where we're talking and interacting with students, the first question they ask is, how can I win this competition, Anna? How can I come first in this, Anna? And the whole point of this book was to understand the approach and the mindset to win that competition. And that's exactly what I've written the first 70%. The 70% of the book talks about what exactly is competition. Is it just the lemon race, or is it just the debate competition? Or is it something that is ingrained in our head? What is there in our brains when it comes to the monk and the monkey? As soon as that is done, I talk about how does it come in? What is the root of competition? Because if we Indians don't know what is the root of competition, that's a big problem. We must understand where is it rooting from, right? And then I speak about understanding how to approach even before you enter the competition. I was speaking to this international Olympic athlete while I was writing this book, and he says that what I do during the competition is 20%, Satvik. It's 80% of what I do before the competition. Exactly what I've spoken in the book on, discussed in the book on doing the approach before the competition. And when I was speaking, when I was thinking on what should I do during the competition, I spoke to soldiers who fought Kargil, who was Lieutenant General P.G. Kamath, who has not been able to come here, Sumer Sopti Colonel, who was in Kargil, who fought, and many others who went out there in the war because they are there with bullets rushing towards them, handling a team and handling artilleries. I wanted to understand what goes in their minds. I wrote my book and I understood that my inputs were limited to my world. I brought in these people from different walks of life. It could be an Olympic athlete, or it could be a soldier, it could be a stand-up comedian, it could be an entrepreneur. Because the first 70% of the book was talking about how to win or understand and give an approach to win a competition. That's what the first 70% is. But then I understood the competition itself is growth. That's what they say. Competition is growth. Helps you grow, understand. But there's a plateau. It took me 7 years to understand that there is a plateau and there should be other alternatives to grow beyond that. And after that 5 to 7 years, I had other ways and other alternatives to at least approach this competition, not just competition. So what is that other 20 to 30% I talk about? Because for me, today, whenever this person, anybody reads the book, for me winning is, in this context, for me winning is that a person, a junior for me, comes up and says, and I read this book, the first 70%, that's all I read, the first 5, 7 chapters, and I went into a competition. The approach I got was completely different. Doesn't matter, he wins, he learns, he loses, doesn't matter. But the approach I took was completely refreshing. That's exactly what I want. And the second part is, bro, I've already been winning. I don't think the book is needed. That's exactly why I wrote the last 20 to 30%. Because I saw that there is a plateau of growth after a point of time through competition. Exactly why I wrote the last 30% to alternatives for winning a competition. Alternatives for competition itself. Is competition the only thing necessary for growth? That's why I wrote the last 20, 30%. So if anybody is already winning the competition and they come and tell, bro, I didn't read the first 7 chapters, the last 2 chapters brought me a refreshing concept on how to approach competition. So irrespective of you wanting to get into a competition or being the world's largest or India's largest exam, like exams or CAs, who are part of this book, have spoken to All India Rank 1 CA, All India Rank 100 percentile CAT, 780 GMAT, all these people, to get an approach on what is their mindset before competition, during competition, and after competition. And to end it all, it could be a person who wants to learn, it could be a person who wants to approach a competition, or it could be someone who wants to get an alternative to competition itself. The monk and the monkey in the minds have to be used efficiently. So to just end it off, I want all of you to say, monk and monkey. I will say, efficient usage of, say, this particular entities in our brain. I would call them entities, the creatures in our mind, is very important to win or approach any competition. That's all from my end, guys. Thank you.